Ever since I dropped that Hulk Hogan video, I've been getting all types of comments from these buck dancing Sambos saying stuff like, I'm a black person, and I like Hulk Hogan too. I honor him. We need to really talk about that. The psychology of the Sambo Pick-Me. I'm your host, Cool Colas, and let's go ahead and get into it. Just so I don't confuse people, especially those who are new to this channel, I think that we need to define what a pick-me is to begin with. So some of you all know this term, and then there's others of you who have been living under a rock who have no idea what this is. But a pick-me is a term that generally is either used by a bitter woman or a shea butter Sambo, which really is kind of the same thing. And they are using it to describe another woman who they believe caters to the interest of men in some way, or they have no mind of their own, so they fully are dedicated to advocating for, supporting, and sticking up for men in some way. And in this case, we're talking about black men specifically. Women who use pick-me are also using this term because they're stating that the women who are catering to black men, saying things positively about them or speaking on our behalf in a positive manner, are doing so that they can be picked. So the idea is that they don't have a mind of their own, and what they're doing is simply so that they can get chose. So they look like someone who is desperate. So it's a way to create a pejorative around a woman who is trying to cater to black men or men in general. And I shouldn't have to explain to you all what a Sambo is at this point, but for those of you all who just must know, a Sambo is really synonymous of a coon. And the context that I use the word Sambo in is synonymous of the word coon. And although I'm not going to go that deep into it, I do want to give just a little bit of psychology before I actually put the two words together and show y'all what I mean by this term. So a Sambo, for those of you all who do not know, was a term that originated during slavery. And it was a term for somebody who was trying to have a means of survival by submitting. And when it came to these Sambos, they were black people, and in a lot of cases, black characters who were rewarded for their loyalty to white supremacy. And a lot of times these were individuals who would capitulate to white supremacy in order to stay safe. Now let's go ahead and let's put these two words together. A Sambo Pick-Me. A Sambo Pick-Me is an individual who has a fictitious relationship that's made up in their mind with the dominant society. In that the dominant society loves them when they are submissive. So they do things to appease them. In a way, it's almost like this Stockholm syndrome type of thing where you love your oppressor almost to a point of a intimate, or as people like to say, romantic interest. And by the way, y'all, I mean that literally. I mean, these are people who are literally buck broken, both mentally and spiritually. And in a way, they're almost willing to be buck broken physically in some cases as well too, as long as it leads to benefits and also staying safe. You know, a lot of these Sambos, Sambo Pick-Me's and Sambos that we're going to use synonymously in this case, they have a lot of the same traits, and you can identify them extremely easily. They have certain coded language and things that they say that tell you that they are Sambos. One of the biggest things that I see, and I saw this a lot, like I said, when I posted that Hulk Hogan video, is they will announce to you that they are black before creating a contrarian point that either undermines or disrespects black society. So in the case of Hulk Hogan, an example of that would be, I'm black and I like Hulk Hogan and I forgive him. So what this does is this undermines the idea that the reason why black people, foundational black Americans especially, were outraged by what Hulk Hogan did was because he disrespected us and he created racist theories while also having a lot of pull and control in a company that's as prestigious as WWE. And he had a legacy of not only being racist, but not even atoning for that racism. So to then go back and say, well, I forgave them, although you all choose not to, is separating yourself from individuals who are codified enough to speak up about the disrespect that Hulk Hogan showed when he called us a hard ER. And instead, you're like, I'm cool with you calling me a hard ER and disrespecting me because I have no dignity. But you all are the ones who are living in the past and can't get over it. You're showing the white supremacists that you're an individual who wants to be chosen. These are the type of Negroes that'll tell people to pull themselves up by their bootstraps, and we have a problem with fatherless America, and we have a problem with victimhood, and we don't need reparations. You'll hear all these types of talking points from these types of people. These are buck broken Sambo Pick-Me's because they are individuals who are saying the very things that the white supremacist wants to say without being called racist. They lean on these folks. And because these Sambos are just these cowardly chicken shit rat bastards, what a lot of them basically go back and do is they say certain things that they know the white supremacists will like, and then that for them can a lot of times lead to opportunities. I want to talk about why some of these Sambo Pick-Me's behave the way that they do. The first reason is because they crave white acceptance. Many of these black people still hold on to this idea of greatness because, a lot of us were taught at an early age that it's important to have power, success, status, and all these other things. So you have these Negroes who grow up wanting to basically emulate the white supremacists because they believe that that's a symbol of them making it and doing something that's actually constructive. And they're willing to do it in a cutthroat manner, like almost to the point where they're willing to sell out their own people. They'd rather be loved by their oppressor than to be respected by black people who look just like them. The second reason why these Sambo Pick-Me's behave the way they do is because they hope that they will achieve opportunities through assimilation. You have these people who are trying to not rock the boat, or they try to do the very opposite. They try to talk shit about black people because they're hoping that they will garner attention from these, alt-right or racist think tanks who, see what they're doing, and, they'll have them kind of aboard. They'll try to offer them opportunities, because that's why a lot of times you'll see that in a lot of that manosphere type of content that you see. You'll see a lot of black people, like black men especially, who will do manosphere content, and it becomes a quick pipeline into them samboing and making anti-black talking points. Because you can even look at the people like those fresh and fit silly Negroes, and you can look at Andrew Tate and some of the things that they say, and they are showing a lot of internalized racism. That's because, again, they have idolized, to the first point, this idea of trying to mimic people in the dom. Third reason why you get Sambo Pick-Me's is because a lot of them didn't feel accepted by black people growing up, so they have a level of resentment and have insecurities built up as a result. So they have this kind of weird, toxic, the grass is greener on the other side bullshit going on, and they'll just try to get in good with white society because they feel like they've been abused by black society. So they'll go and they'll start saying a bunch of shit and samboing because they're doing it out of revenge. And then you've got, which is the fourth reason, these Sambo Pick-Me's who are doing it because they have a if you can't beat them, join them mentality. They've been so spiritually broken and torn down and dejected and hopeless that at this point they are going to do whatever they can for themselves. They fully bought into this idea of individualism because the idea of having a collective empowerment movement is not something that they can conceptualize. It's too hard. It's too difficult. And they don't believe in themselves or have pride in themselves or their race or their culture for them to stand 10 toes down and do what is right. These Negroes don't have integrity because to them, what the hell's integrity when they don't even have any dignity? They feel that they can't fight back. They can't do anything. I'm not saying this because I feel empathy for them. I'm saying this because I want you to understand the mentality of the Sambo Pick-Me and why they behave the way that they do. A lot of them too also have this idea that, and they're very deceptive. They kind of, like I said, like to take on the persona of the dominant society. But a lot of these fools try to make it seem like what they're doing is a form of pro-blackness because it's a way of giving accountability to black people, especially when they talk dirty about us in a lot of these political spaces. And so what some of the things that they'll say is that, well, I'm doing this because I want to see better for the black community, or they'll say some bullshit like that. The problem is that it reinforces the imbalance of accountability when it comes to white and black relations. Notice that when it comes to a lot of black people, we are known for beating down on ourselves. Whenever, there's some issue in the black community, it's always, we's got to do better. It's always that type of vibe. It's always like, we did this to ourselves. It's always this self-deprivation bullshit that people like to pull. We're always the group of people who are accountable to a fault when it comes to the things that happen in our community, even when we have no fault in it, or we aren't the only ones who have fault in what's happening with us. But when it comes to the dominant society, notice that it's not the same deal. Whenever you try to hold the white supremacists accountable for the things that they do, they always have some type of defensiveness or adverse reaction, or they get into trolling, or they get into bitching if you try to hold them accountable. And they hardly ever actually admit to the bullshit and the racist stuff that they actually do. I mean, these morons in the dominant society are some of the most hyper defensive fools that you will ever meet. Literally, every time you bring up something that they do that's racist and hold them accountable, it's always, I'm not racist, you're too sensitive. Or even when I made the comments about Hulk Hogan, I had people who were literally still trying to tell me that he was allegedly racist. How the fuck is he allegedly racist? Literally, there is proof in him saying it in a recording and then from his own mouth admitting that he did those things and that was his quote unquote past. And you still got these mayonnaise eating white supremacists trying to defend him and trying to water down what he did by saying that it was alleged. Like, these are the most ridiculous, cowardly, and bitchy individuals who have ever existed. And these are the types of people that these Sambo Pick-Me's are trying to appease. You're trying to kiss the ass, the mayonnaise encrusted ass at that, of a damn group of cowards who have to oppress people in order to have any type of power. I won't say that there are two types of Sambo Pick-Me's, but there are two that I see pretty regularly that we need to talk about. The first type of Sambo Pick-Me that I see is generally an FBA Sambo who has internalized racism because they still think like the old niggas who raised them. So this is really the responsibility of the old niggas, and they implanted in the minds of their progeny that black people are people that you should divest from, people who you shouldn't want to be around. And ultimately, we're a degenerate race of people. So the old niggas are responsible for this type of individual because they end up adopting these ideologies later and then just becoming full-blown Sambos. Second type of Sambo that I see quite often, I would say I see it even more than the first one, are these tethers. There's a lot of tethers who already have a lot of anti-black, and when I say anti-black, I mean anti-foundational black American ideologies even before they come over here. And a lot of them have no type of unity or desire to actually have a camaraderie with black people. And because they don't think about the impact of their actions when it comes to speaking about us or creating any type of unified message. So I'm saying all that to basically say a lot of these Sambo Pick-Me's are tethers from another country who've come over here and are just trying to reap the benefits of being in America. And that's why I even mentioned these fresh and fit Negroes who, will do certain shit, talk about keeping it a stack about how white men, experience the most oppression and all this other stuff. Like they'll say little slick ass shit like that. And the reason why they do that is because, again, they don't have any type of integrity that says that we need to unify with our brothers and sisters who are foundational Black Americans. They are separating themselves from us. This is one of the reasons why delineation is so important and why we are identifying ourselves as foundational Black Americans, because we can see when they have that spirit and that energy. And there's so many of them who don't have a desire for codification. They only have a desire from taking and stealing from individuals who have done so much to get their Black asses over here in the first damn place, that being our ancestors. My final point on the Sambo Pick-Me is that you need to understand that a Sambo Pick-Me is not only someone who is a sellout. They are somebody who you just simply can't trust in life in general. If you will literally sell out your own people for individual benefits, what do you think that they would do to you on a personal level if shit went south, or if they want to do something that was in the best interest of them? Remember, y'all, these are deeply selfish individuals, and they will literally sell you out at the drop of a dime. So understand that these aren't just individuals who are sellouts when it comes to race relations and unity. These are individuals who will sell you out on a personal level as well too. So they're just individuals of bad character and integrity overall, and they should be avoided at all costs. As a matter of fact, the only interaction that you should have with a Sambo Pick-Me is calling them out as such. Because again, we are not hating, we are straightening. And we need to let people know who amongst us cannot be trusted and why they can't be trusted. All right, y'all, hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed what I had to say, and I'll definitely have more to come in the future, so make sure you stay tuned. In the meantime, hit the like button, subscribe button, share button, and bell icon so you get notifications for whenever I come out with new content on this channel. Other than that, I will talk to y'all later. Peace out, y'all.